Welcome to the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya here in Spain for what is expected to be a very closely contested race. It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down to turn 1 of this 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. Joining me to talk you through the action today is Anthony Davidson, and give us an idea of what kind of thing you're going to be looking out for today.
Well, the big question for me is whether or not we're going to see the cars able to follow each other closely enough to overtake, especially through the fast sections here. Of course, we've got DRS and that will help on the straights, but it's still no good if you're coming off the previous corner too slowly or too far behind.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The fence starts from pole position, with Pierre Gasly alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Hamilton, Charles Leclerc and Verstappen, Ricciardo, Sainz, Magnussen and Sergio Perez, Hülkenberg, Stroll and Raikkonen, Grosjean, Van Dorn, Brendan Hartley and Fernando Alonso, Ericsson and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
You should have some space going into the first corner, so try to keep it tidy.
Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back for round 4 of the F1 2020 Charles Leclerc mod career mode. Today we head to the Spanish Grand Prix and what's looking like meant to be one of the closest races so far between Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull. This car really does sort of suit each of the cars in very different ways around this track, which meant that we saw the top 3 from 3 different teams separated by just half a tenth when qualifying was all said and done. However, if you missed out the last video at the Chinese Grand Prix, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. That race was absolutely insane. A lot of crazy stuff happened in that one. Pretty much everything you can imagine that could happen inside 14 laps did happen at the Chinese Grand Prix. So yeah, I would definitely recommend going back and checking that one out if you did miss it. But today though, heading into the Spanish GP, we've got a good 15-point lead at the top of the Drivers' Championship. In terms of the Constructors, we're still, I think it's 10 points down from Mercedes. Just 18 points separate the big 3 at the top of the standings after the first 3 rounds of the championship. But hopefully here today at Spain, we can try to further extend our margin in the Drivers' World Championship. Getting ready then for the start of this Spanish Grand Prix. Then it's 5 red lights and it's lights out and away we go there, and we did not respond well to those lights. We're going to instantly lose the place to Max Verstappen as we head down towards turn 1. Got to be careful of the Renault car just behind us. He's going to look up the inside through turn 1. That was Ricciardo. They're 3 wide, battling for P2 there, and Hamilton has had an absolute brilliant start straight up into P2 behind his teammate there. Albon unfortunately dropping back ever so slightly there, and it looks like Seb's still trying to hook it up around the outside of Hamilton here, which allowed Bottas to make quite an early breakaway in this race there. So interested to see who's going to come out on top between Hamilton and Seb at the moment there. However, we're now all over the back of Verstappen once again. He might have to go a bit defensive. We're much later on the brakes. Can we get it hooked up around the outside? Yes, we can. We're back up then into P5. Damage limitation of the start of the Grand Prix there. And yeah, that's been quite a good little getaway for ourselves in the end there. Not losing out on any spots. Ooh, almost going to the back of Albon. I might have just spoke too soon. No, we get back around the outside of Max Verstappen there. Yeah, so Seb up 1 place, Hamilton up 1 place, Albon though down 2 off the start of this Grand Prix, and I really do worry for that Red Bull because they seem to be strong, obviously, in the area of the track where you can't overtake. So we'll wait and see as to how it all shapes up for Alexander Albon there. However, at the end of lap 1, Bottas is already starting to make a bit of a breakaway here. So we'll wait and see as to how this race settles down. Coming towards the end of lap 2, we're now all over the back of Albon here. Everyone seems to have settled down into a bit of a rhythm. However, we do need to try and get past the Red Bull as quickly as possible here. We set a purple middle sector. That's definitely where I seem to be a bit stronger around the circuit here. Got the car set up for a bit more aerodynamics as we make a bit of a mistake at the final turn. And yeah, you can see Bottas new fast lap of the Grand Prix. Seb going even quicker. We do not improve upon that. DRS has been enabled. We're going to be on to set the soft compound tyres when we do pit, and I feel pit strategy might really take a big effect in this race. Really trying to attack the curves through there. We're all now over the back of Albon. This might be our golden opportunity to go for something here. Gonna have to try and send it up the inside. He moves a little bit in the braking zone, but he does allow us up the inside. We're now up into P4 of the Grand Prix. I just don't feel like we can afford to get stuck behind the Red Bull here. It's very, very much a quick package, but it's quick in all the wrong places. Which is, yeah, really probably going to hamper them here. But next up then on the old hit list is Lewis Hamilton. New fast lap of the Grand Prix. All over the back now of Lewis Hamilton. Could we potentially do the same sort of thing that we did to Albon a lap ago? I've clicked the wrong button. I clicked the wrong button. I can't believe I've just done that. That's completely killed the hype. However, Hamilton is still going to try and go defensive on us. Can we get the move around the outside? No. Hamilton parks the car just in the right spot. Now, next big difficult question then is what is going to happen with race strategy here? Now, hopefully we won't have the same mistake that we saw at China, where obviously Seb and I both had to pit and I had a front wing change for no apparent reason. But we'll wait and see. Obviously, if Seb pits in the next lap, we can't. However, if he doesn't, we are definitely going to. Can we try and get the move on Hamilton now, though? We're gaining a little bit in the DRS. Hamilton's aware of it, though. He does go defensive. Can we make the move around the outside? We're going to be pretty even on the brakes. There's actually a bit of contact between the powers there. Hamilton running a bit deeper into the corner than I thought he would, but we're up into P3. Still making good progress at the moment. Next big question is, what is Seb going to do at the end of this lap? Coming into the final complex then of lap 5, what are we going to see Seb do? This could completely define our race. Seb stays out, so we're going to have to dive it in. Flip the ball off there. Oh, getting a little bit scribbly into the pit lane. Just about getting stopped nice and tidily. And we are going to dive it in for our first and hopefully only stop of the day. No one else is pitting though. And I think we might come out of some traffic here, but we shall wait and see. It is quite a long pit lane here around Spain. And we should get, hopefully, a little bit clearer air. But I've clicked the wrong button again. I'm so used to the Xbox configure buttons, so I keep clicking the wrong ones.
Let's get some heat into those
Done that 2 weeks running in the pit lane now. But yeah, we are going to come back out, though. A little bit behind Nicholas Latifi. But obviously, if the air are going to pit over the next couple of laps, we might get stuck behind him just a little bit. Need to try and work these tyres, though. We have got a good chance to undercut Seb.
We're not going to be able to run in this engine mode.
Fault line up the inside of Latifi. Ooh, okay, not too sure how that works. Latifi sort of ended up giving us the room there. Reminiscent of Luca Badola 2009. Sort of move there. It was honestly the first thing that sprung to mind. That's not how you attack that curb. Seb's in the pit lane though. Now is the moment of truth. Everyone else diving in. This is exactly what I like to see. We're going to have some DRS as well. Can we pull out a bit of an undercut here on Sebastian Vettel? Looking at the right hand side of the circuit. There he is. We'll dive into some slipstream. Come on, let's do this. Round the outside we go. Obviously he's got to stick to the pit lane exit. And we swoop round the outside. And we're now up into a net P2 of the Spanish Grand Prix here. We are throwing absolutely everything at this at the moment. Can we now get the undercut on Bottas? End of lap 7, we're all over the back now of this train. We need the AlphaTauri of Gasly and everyone else to jump into the pit lane there. Ignore that interesting line through the final corner. They all dive it in. Now is the moment of truth. Have we got the undercut on Bottas here? Another fastest lap of the race. There is Bottas. We've made it work. Has Seb come out ahead of him as well? Seb's come out in P2. So Ferrari, we've gone from all right in this race to a 1-2 now. We've mugged the Mercedes off with the undercut OP. Now we need to try and defend from Seb. Haven't got much in the way of defence from Seb at the moment there. As you can see, he's closing in on us very, very rapidly here. He's going to be able to have a look down the inside. We've got no fuel and no ERS to defend from him that time round. Obviously, we used up all of it on our 2 qualifying style laps to try and get the undercut. We need to stick with Seb though. I mean, I'm happy with a Ferrari 1-2 either way, but if we can get a 3rd win on the cards, I would take a 3rd win on the cards. Come on, 1 lap later, we're still all over the back of Seb. Can we try and potentially get a bit of an well, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, just a run on him down towards turn 1. He's going defensive, got so little fuel and revs. And ER has to play with their contact as we head through turn 1. That's not quite what we wanted. Seb, I feel, just parking the bus ever so slightly there, but we need to start fuel saving a bit if we want to continue attacking him. Only 7 laps to go of this Grand Prix. And now it's a difficult balance between saving fuel where we can and also trying to make sure we don't lose too much to him and therefore we can attack. Someone's fallen to the wayside. Please don't tell me it's Albon. Who's it going to be? Surely he's going to come up with the message in just a second. Unless they're still going? Yeah, the Red Bull continues on. Not too sure what's happened. I've been on a bit of a mad fuel-saving mission these last couple of laps. My plan at the moment is to save a bit of extra fuel and then really just try and go for 1 attack on Seb towards the end of the Grand Prix. Now, we'll wait and see as to how that pans out. You can see already at the moment we're still sat and standing on everything and we're getting a run on him down towards turn 1. Could we make the move work now, perhaps? Just a little bit later on the brakes. We're going to go side by side through turn 1 and turn 2. I know we get wedged out over the curbs. Seb's going to hold on to it for now. But yeah, just trying to keep it nice and clean between the pair of us. We also need to be careful of Mercedes behind. Because in the perfect world, neither of us get left vulnerable to them either. They don't want to be out there. 5 laps to go though of this race. Let's see what we can do. Gonna try and go for it now though. Might be a little bit earlier than I originally was saying, but sometimes you just got to go for it. Is Seb going to have anything in terms of defence this time round? He's going to try and go defensive. We're going to move further to the inside. Bring it back down into standard. Just a bit later on the brakes. And yes, we're now back up into the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. I must admit, it feels good to finally have a proper battle with Seb as well. He's been a bit unlucky in a couple of races. Obviously, China and Australia. And then at Bahrain, he, well, completely trounced us in all honesty. We had nothing against him in that race. Really, really struggled with pace and consistency. But I'm sure this battle isn't over just yet. I wasn't honestly expecting Seb to go for that. He gained so much at the top end now. I wasn't even worried about trying to defend from him. But fair play, he's clearly got a bit of a better straight line speed orientated package over ourselves. Yeah, I genuinely am speechless. I was not expecting him to go for that one. In fact, I hadn't even sat myself with any commentary for it. But we'll continue pushing. I definitely feel like around the track we've got a bit of a quicker car at the moment. We're still trying to apply the pressure. I know the AI do a bit of a weird line through there. As you can tell, we're now sat all over the back of him once again. Normally we're quick through here. Potentially we can try and open up a bit of a run, perhaps. Seb's aware of it though. He's going to go defensive to the outside in towards turn 10. And now Seb should... Ooh, a bit of... What's that?
Okay, you've got to leave room for other cars. We can't take too many penalties.
I feel like Seb brake checked me.
Looking at the damage, and we think you should be okay to continue. It'll cost us a little bit of time, but we're nearly at the end of the race.
That is a dramatic twist in this Spanish Grand Prix and in the complete relationship between myself and Sebastian Vettel. I'll be honest, yeah, I felt he moved a bit and then decided to brake early. We now got under pressure from Hamilton. We cannot afford to throw this entirely away now. This cannot fall apart in the final 3 laps. How much damage have we got in the car? Oh my god, the wing's damaged. Oh, no. This is not happening now. Surely not. We haven't just thrown away what was an easy 1-2 in proper Ferrari fashion, surely. I very much feel there that we have the weird sort of diffuser thing that was definitely a bigger issue on F1 2018 than 2019, where you sort of just pick the car up in front of you. But yeah, not too sure how I feel about that one. Let me know your thoughts and feelings to that one down in the comments below. However, we need to stick with Hamilton. We cannot afford to throw this away. We need to come home with at least the dub
ERS deployment
for the
it's
team.
time to use some of this charge.
This was a golden opportunity to take a lot of points out of Mercedes there. And, oh, come on, don't do that. Don't do that. This is completely falling apart at the moment. Come on. We need to try and get back to Hamilton here. We've got 2 laps to go with this Grand Prix. I refuse to give in despite the wing damage. Come on, just over 1 lap to go with this race. We've got to get a run on Hamilton at the final corner here. Throwing absolutely everything at this. Come on, through the final chicane we go.
There's only 1 lap of fuel remaining.
We can't get it now, it's looking highly unlikely we'll ever be able to get it here. We've got overtake mode, rich revs, everything. We've got no spare fuel, we shouldn't really be throwing so much on the line at this. But we need to try and get past Hamilton, and we're not gaining enough as we head down in through T1. Come on, we're just attacking the curbs. This wing damage is really costing us around to take some alternate lines, as you can see, through turn 3. Just to try and get the car going a little bit more. We've got someone now who's dropping out of the Grand Prix. Who is that going to be? Causing yellow flags. I'm not too sure, but we need to stick with Hamilton. Look, that makes a bit of a mistake through there. Every single time we've watched that from the Mercedes. Come on. We might be able to get a run through turn 9. That's getting very loose. That Stroll is at the Grand Prix at the moment. I really don't care. Can we get... No, we've ruined it. We can't get close enough to Hamilton there, surely. All over the back of him as we head down in towards the final few corners of this race. This is so frustrating. Seb and I should never have come together. That's completely cost the pair of us in this race. We've got a DRS failure. Wonderful. So we head through the final chicane. This is heartbreaking. I would have taken P2. But P2 took completely the wrong card. God damn it.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
And now it's time to wind down and celebrate after that fantastic Grand Prix. Here they come, your top 3, out onto the podium. Now then, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
Probably Stoffel Van Dorn. You know, strong pace, good work with the strategy, just a very complete drive, I think.
That's it for today's Grand Prix, and from Ant and I, it's goodbye, and see you again next time.
I cannot believe we threw that race away there. I said all the way throughout, Seb and I needed to bring home the 1-2, and yeah, like I said at the time, I felt we got the run off the exit of the corner there. Seb moved a little bit in, obviously that isn't a braking zone, up the hill through that kink. And Seb definitely, I feel, slammed on the anchors through there. So let me know down in the comments below your thoughts and feelings to that one. I'm just absolutely gutted. You know, like I said, I was more than happy to finish P2 in that race, but as long as it was to Seb. But yeah, to lose out points to Hamilton and Mercedes like that was a costly error that we can't afford to be making in this series there. But Hamilton wins the race ahead of myself, they're 4th and 5th through to 1st and 2nd there, with Valtteri Bottas the pole man in P3, Albon in 4th ahead of Sebastian there. Ricciardo, Sainz, Magnussen, Perez and Norris round out the top 10 there, with Raikkonen just missing out at the end of the day. Ahead of Grosjean, George Russell there, Danny Kvyat in P14, Giovinazzi, Ocon, Gasly, Latifi and Verstappen there, with Stroll the only man not to make it through to the end of the race there. In terms of the Drivers' Championship, though, now just 10 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton, despite his retirement last time out in Shanghai. Bottas drops back down to P3. They're still the consistency man there. I think is that 4 podiums in a row for Bottas? It must be. At the moment, there are 4 third places in a row. When will he get that first race victory of the season? We will have to wait and see that. Albon, though, back up into 4th ahead of his teammate Max Verstappen. Seb jumps past Ricciardo and Esteban Ocon there, back up into P6 there, but only 28 points on the board. It has really not been the opening 4 rounds that I'm sure my teammate would have wanted there. Magnussen still in 9th ahead of Perez there. Grosjean in 11th ahead of Sainz, Gasly, Norris there, and Raikkonen, Kvyat, Stroll, Giovinazzi, Russell, and Latifi all yet to put points on the board there. In terms of the Constructors' Championship, even I should say, Mercedes open up their advantage to 22 points over ourselves, so we further extend our margin over Red Bull there. The only swap would be McLaren now jumping past AlphaTauri there, with Williams and Alfa Romeo still yet to score. But yeah, a really, really difficult race at the end of the day. Apologies to Seb as to what did happen. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and feelings to that one down below, guys. But yeah, we will be back next time out, ready for round 5 of the season, where we head to the jewel in the Formula 1 crown. We head to Monaco.